Alyssa is a sophomore at Idalou High School, and she has been diagnosed with a hearing impairment, but she is hard of hearing. She does not require hearing aids for class, but from her writings, one can see that she struggles in reading comprehension, vocabulary, and writing comprehension. This is a sample of her AOW, which is Article of the Week, that was over gun control. And as you can see, she's annotated, she's underlined like she's supposed to. She's even answered these questions. But once you look at them, you know that there's something kind of missing with her answers. The first question asks, how can making America's gun makers accountable prevent the number of multiple victim shootings? Alyssa responded with this, which is a little hard to see, but we had to make a copy of it from her notebook. The gun makers accountable have been interest and often insufficiently. The little proposal ever get a handle on gun control when there are already more people on the streets. When often get angry at rank and file gun owners, in turn see us as illicit big city folks who don't respect the traditions of who have had weapons in their families for generations. To do business with the government, companies would have to be willing to remove the barriers to getting smart guns and gun safety technologies to market. The whole point of the first question was to answer it using citations from the article, which she did, but she never really tied it into her answer. As you can tell, she's using large words, but not correctly and not in the right order. Her grammatical structure is completely off whenever she's writing, and there's just some words missing out of this. Her answers do get a little bit better, as you can see from 2. I respond to the solution by comprehensive gun control that are more adventurous than the ideas. Obviously, adventurous is not used right in that sentence, but she's learned it somewhere and she just needs to learn how to put it into a sentence properly. The last one is an opinion one, and it asks, I think that it will be resolved in my lifetime. It's asking, will gun problems be resolved? And she's explaining because the guns, people will always have them. The author feels that they should not be in the houses or anywhere else. Once again, grammatical structure on that one. They should not have guns near any of the children's. Once again, she used children's wrong. It should just be children there, because they might think that they are toys and might shoot the gun. This one, and I apologize that it's a little bit hard to read. Once again, we had to make a copy of it, but it's a history paper. It's from a U.S. history paper, and it's, according to Carnegie, men of wealth have certain duties. Elaborate on these discussions, discussing your thoughts on their importance. Alyssa says, set an example of modest, unsustainous living, shunning display or extravagance after daring so to consider all surplus revenues which come to him simply as trust funds, which he is strictly bound as a matter of duty, the administrator in the manner which in his judgment is best calculated to practice the most beneficial results. These are actually quotes that were taken out of what they were supposed to read. You can see this from what the teachers commented on it, that she needs to add her own thoughts into it, not just quotes from the passage. Alyssa has a very hard time doing that and incorporating her own thoughts with it. From seeing these samples of her writing, one can tell that she really needs a lot of assistance, and that's why I would like to start the Kurzweil program as a way to help her in her writing abilities. The Kurzweil system will allow her to type up her passages, but it will read it to her, and it will also notify her whenever there's a grammatical error, a spelling error, or something along those lines. Alyssa also needs help in reading comprehension, which, as you can tell from her AOWs, she can read, but she has a hard time reading it, comprehending it, and then putting her opinions down onto paper correctly. I would also like to use Kurzweil on this because they have a program called Firefly that allows for books and articles to be scanned into the computer and then read to her. And if there's a word that she doesn't know, it can then be defined. Also, by seeing this and by seeing words visually and having them visually, having them defined, she can make a connection in her head, which will also, in the long term, help her in her vocabulary and writing things correctly and tying in words correctly. Like, she may be able to use adventurously in the correct context, since she hasn't been able to do it thus far. I'll also be posting some more pictures to give more examples of Alyssa's writing and comprehension skills.